It is really wonderful to see all these beautiful faces to come together like this morning. My name is Fugan, and I am talking to you from Cape Cod, from Hyannis Zendo, and it is always a pleasure to sit with you in the second temple that unites us all. It is a busy season right now for us out here, and I'm sure for everyone wherever you guys are. This is traditionally the time of year when the crops are being gathered in. Right? There's this rush to get things done before winter sets in up here in the Northeast in New England. And I teach some classes at a college nearby, and it's the end of the semester coming up. Things are closing in on us. It's a busy time for all the students and the teachers. There's recitals and papers to grade. There's just a lot of stress going on. And the holidays are coming, which is beautiful and also can be really stressful. And this is all happening in the context of COVID and maybe more COVID, right? And there's all these kind of seemingly insurmountable divisions going on right now in our country. The tensions are high. And even here in Hyannis, we're seeing this on a very local level. We have a community group that's working together to try to preserve this last big open green space in Hyannis. And it just happens to be the space connected here to the marsh outside the Zendo, so we feel invested in it. And so people are dug into their positions, understandably. And we've got this elevation of violence nationally and globally, and it seems to be affecting relationships up and down. It seems as though there's sort of a growing indifference to other people and their suffering, to seeing one another as humans first. And yet today is this kind of overcast, gray, beautiful day here on the Cape. We've been kind of endlessly raking leaves. Seijin has been endlessly raking leaves, and the smell of fall is in the air. It is beautiful. This morning there was Canada geese out on the marsh just making this insane racket, and for sitting they seemed to have quieted down, which was generous of them. And so our zazen this morning brings us back to our bodies, to our lives, to this moment, so we can respond to what comes up rather than just acting out of fear or grasping or passion. And this afternoon, as most of you probably know, we're going to continue the fall series of the teachings on the Dharma of embodiment. And there's a workshop by Rakushin, who you know as a wonderful mover and dancer, a teacher, and she'll be exploring embodiment through dance and improvisation. And so knowing this was coming up and thinking about sort of all the busyness of this season, a koan came to mind. And this is case 44 in the Blue Cliff record, Ho Shan's Knowing How to Beat the Drum. And this koan tends to cut right through all the chatter. So the koan goes like this. Ho Shan imparted some words saying, cultivating study is called learning. Cutting off study is called nearness. Going beyond these two is to be considered the real going beyond. A monk came forward and asked, what is the real going beyond? Shan said, knowing how to beat the drum. Again, the monk asked, what is the real truth? Shan said, knowing how to beat the drum. Again, he asked, mind is Buddha. I'm not asking about this. What is not mind and not Buddha? Shan said, knowing how to beat the drum. Again, this monk asked, when a transcendent person comes, how do you receive them? Shan said, knowing how to beat the drum. This is a man after my own heart. And Ho Shan was a monk in the late 9th and to middle of 10th century. He lived from 884 to 960. And the opening lines of this koan are quoted from the Jewel Treasury Treatise, which is often credited to a 4th century Chinese monk named Seng Zhao. But I learned in my research that this Jewel Treasury Treatise was probably written in the 8th century. And it's an amalgamation of Taoist, Confucian, and Chan or Zen teachings. And so it starts off, cultivating study is called learning. And we study the world around us and create knowledge of our place, our time, our situation. Right? This is cultivating, growing and gathering, harvesting knowledge. And it's crucial. Right? This is what we need to act in the world. Right? Why do we need green spaces nearby? Why do we need non-paved spaces? How does this undeveloped land protect us from flooding, storm surges, the rising seas just down the street? But in our practice, we know that our knowledge can't take us beyond what we know. Our knowledge of Buddhism or anything really can always increase, but always within the sphere of knowledge. This is the realm of the known. J. Krishnamurti puts it kind of nicely. Intellect, he says, can never lead to the whole, for it is only a segment, a part. So in our Zen practice, we don't dismiss study. We don't drop our learning about the world or our learning about Zen. But we don't mistake our ideas of the world for the world itself. We don't mistake knowing ideas about awakening for awakening. You know, the finger pointing at the moon, that old saw, is not the moon itself. So Ho Shan's quote, cultivating study is called learning, is sometimes translated as cultivating study is called listening. You know, how is it to deeply listen? Is this still cultivating or gathering? Or is this more like Dogen's famous description of studying the way in the Genjo Koan? To study the way is to study the self. To study the self is to forget the self. To forget the self is to be actualized by myriad things. Cutting off study or forgetting the self, Ho Shan says, is called nearness. This is the second line of his koan. And we might say cutting off study is called intimacy. When study is exhausted, we encounter a space of not knowing. And here, no thoughts arise, not even thoughts of enlightenment. There's no separation. There's nothing to separate from. can't say much about that space. And Ho Shan says, going beyond these two is to be considered real going beyond. Going beyond knowing and not knowing, form and emptiness, is to be considered the real going beyond. To be actualized by the 10,000 things. The sound of the geese, the smell of the fall leaves. And in our lineage, teachers have come up with various ways to convey this. Rinzai shouted, Shakyamuni Buddha raised up a flower. Gute's one finger Zen. And Ho Shan beats the drum. Sueto calls each of Ho Shan's hits on the drum an iron spike. Each beat cuts right through. Boom! Right? You can't grasp it. There is nothing to hold on to. But it's not nothing. In the first series of lessons on the mridangam, which is the main drum in South India for art, music, and dance, you learn 4 sounds or 4 strokes, or really 4 movements. Ta, di, tom, and nam. And these strokes and the whole series that they're a part of are recognizable in drumming traditions all around India. And from the earliest treatises on music until today, these are taught, these 4 sounds. And they're sometimes called Adi Shabda, which is Sanskrit meaning primordial or original sounds. And I think Ho Shan's 4 hits on the drum fall into this category of primordial sounds. And do you know the image of the Hindu god Shiva in his cosmic dance as Nataraja? This is Shiva standing in a ring of fire with one foot raised up in front, and he's standing on the other foot on top of a demon, and this demon is ignorance. And in one of his 4 hands, he holds a drum, a damaru drum, which is an hourglass-shaped drum. And in another of those hands, he holds fire, Agni. And this is, in this form of Nataraja, he's dancing the cosmic dance of creation and destruction, Shiva the destroyer, right? And in the Hindu text, each of his 4 steps in this dance corresponds to these primordial sounds of ta, di, tom, and nam. And over again, he dances and destroys everything. And he also creates everything in that moment. And this kind of colorful imagery from Hinduism, I think, points towards Ho Shan's very simple Zen statement, knowing how to beat the drum. Beating this drum destroys and creates the world in each strike, each stroke, each moment. And of course, that's because we can only hear this sound right now. This is when hearing takes place. The Buddhist scholar P.N. Chen notes that of the 6 sense vehicles, the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind, hearing is regarded as the best method for living beings to achieve the supreme bodhi. So the sound of the drum is available now, right here, in your body. It resonates in you, through you. You know, we might call it a drum, or we might call it the sound of leaves falling gently outside. And Ho Shan doesn't let this monk or us get caught up in our ideas of learning or not learning, form and emptiness. Cultivating study is called learning, and cutting off study is called nearness. Ho Shan just boom. What's the real going beyond? What is it? Boom. The monk even raises no mind and no Buddha, nothing to attach to. Ho Shan doesn't stick there either. Just boom. And well, each step of Nataraja's dance, each beat on the drum, destroys our concepts, takes us out of the world of thinking, ideas. But it also creates, it delivers us somewhere. And it delivers us right here into this moment, into your body as it is right now. The gray clouds and the geese on the marsh. So this monk asks all these questions, keeps asking. And I think this repetition is important. It's our lives. As we sat this morning, our minds continue asking, moving into the world of ideas and form. And then with the breath coming in, we drop back into this moment. Beating the drum is this iron spike that cuts through. And then we come back. Our thoughts come. And then this moment, this drum sound in our body, and we're back here over and over. And this is the groove of our lives, right? This is the move and the flow of being human, knowing how to beat the drum. So Yunmen was a contemporary of Ho Shan's. And he also quoted from the Jewel Treasury Treatise. Yunmen quoted, "Within heaven and earth, in space and time, there is a jewel, hidden in the mountain of form." And this mountain of form, of course, is sitting right here, blabbering at you, and this mountain of form is sitting there, listening. And Yunmen continues with his quote. He says, "The mountain of form is the jewel. Your body is the jewel." The great jazz drummer Bob Moses has written and talked about beating the drum. Playing drums, he says, is a physical dance. With drums, sound and motion are one and the same. He says it's necessary to be unafraid of your body, as well as to develop the power and love of your body and your motion. In order to do that, he says, you have to become, in essence, a dancer. These are instructions for beating the drum. There's a Yoruba god named Ayan, whose sound and energy has been really resonating in the Black Atlantic for centuries. And Ayan is sometimes imagined as male, sometimes female, sometimes neither, sometimes both. And Ayan is the god of drumming who calls all the other gods. He gives them voice and brings them into the world through music and dance. He brings the world to life through dance. And unlike the other Yoruba gods from Nigeria and in the Americas, he doesn't carry around a sacred item or have specific dress or colors associated with him. Ayan doesn't have imagery. Ayan is ephemeral. She's located in the sound of drums. And sometimes Ayan is thought to be residing within the body of the drum itself in a consecrated drum. this jewel within the body of the drum. And the presence of this jewel, of this ion in the drum, makes the body sacred. And ion's not only the sound of the drum itself, but also the first drummer, as well as the lineage of drummers down to today. According to a Yoruba proverb, the drum can build or destroy, can create or destroy. And above all else, goes another proverb, Ion is a healer. And all of us now, we are this embodiment of Ion, I think. The sound and the movement. The movement and the sound are not separate in this story of our lives. Creating and destroying each moment, we return to the body in the world. Another proverb about this god of drumming says, no one hears the sound of Ion without dancing. Can we hear it right now? Resonating in us, in our breath, our heartbeat. What is it? When Ho Shan beats his drum, he's opening a Dharma door for us over and over again, opening the door into the groove of our life, the motion of being human, being alive. So I'll finish today with a quote from the great Yoruba drummer Babatunde Olatunji. He said, the spirit of the drum is something that you can feel but cannot put your hands on. It does something to you from the inside out. It hits people in so many different ways. But the feeling is one that is satisfying and joyful. It is a feeling that makes you say to yourself, I am glad to be alive today. I am glad to be part of this world. So thank you for your practice.